So what is the cover of this story of Asia and Africa? What's different in Asia and Africa? As part of the portfolio, the large portfolio of VimpelCom Asia and Africa business unit enjoys relatively lower penetration rates. We're talking about an average of 60% amongst our footprint, and very large populations. Not only this, but also very young populations in the countries where we operate. So still land grabbing opportunity, a young population that is very ready to go to the next stage of telecommunication in these countries, especially with the mobile data and VAS revenues opportunity that we see ahead of us in these countries. But also we are enjoying leading positions in this market. Caesar, you're late. Kidding. We are enjoying leading positions in this market, which positions us very well in the future to grab the best of the opportunity that lies ahead, especially on data. And I'm coming to more details in next slide. Also, within Asia and Africa, we started by the second half of 2012, and as part of our value agenda, very strong performance on delivering on our network and OpEx efficiency programs. And that included network modernization and full network swaps in our operations. All this leaves us with strong cash generation, strong cash margins within these countries, and thus a great opportunity for the future of VimpelCom in these markets. So again, we're talking about 430 million population in the countries where we operate, an average penetration of 60%. We are operating in 7 countries in Asia and Africa business unit. However, today we're going to cover or focus on only the big 3, which are Algeria, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. In Algeria, we're having the market leading position. In Pakistan, we're a strong market leader as well. And in Bangladesh, we are a strong number 2. The total combined subscriber base we have in these 3 countries is around 90 million subscribers. So indeed a huge subscriber base. So in this business unit, if you look at the numbers, they speak to themselves. Relatively stable revenue over the last 3 years. Of course, adjusting for the US dollar, there is some depreciation that took place in the Algerian dinar and the Pakistani rupee against the US dollar. However, in organic side, we have seen growth in all our markets on the top line. On the EBITDA margin, we have seen an increase over the 3 years, reaching 47.3% in the last 12 months. A very strong performance and a sign of profitable growth, a sign of increasing efficiency within our operations. Cash flow as well, very strong at the mid-30s. So EBITDA minus capex over revenue is around 33.3% actually in the last 12 months. So very strong cash engines as well. So the first market, Algeria. It's quite a large, population, around 40 million inhabitants. And we're enjoying a very dominant situation, I would say, there, 53% market share. There is elections that are meant to take place in presidential elections in Algeria in next April, actually the 3rd week of April as announced. The growth of the economy is around 2.5% per year. Most importantly, on the regulatory front, and as Joe mentioned yesterday, there is a major development that took place over the last, I would say, couple of months. We have been granted a provisional license for 3G, followed by a final license. Not only this, but with that also we've been granted for the first time a lifting on the ban only to import 3G equipment for the time being. We look to that very positively. We had our action put together actually, and it was a push of the button as soon as we got the relevant approvals from different government entities. The shipment started immediately to Algeria, and I dare say that, just to give you a feel, the last time we were importing capex was in April 2010. It's been 4 years. We have a ban in Algeria. With the 3G awarding and the 3G capex ban lifting, we started to put our action together, and when the equipment reached Algeria, the clearance from the customs actually took 8 days rather than the 4 to 6 weeks that it usually used to take. So it tells you how much and I have to say that's also a good sign that There is cooperation. There is a good feeling about the operation now in Algeria, and everybody's trying to help it to get where it should be. So the rollout of 3G has started, rather very aggressively rolling out our 3G equipment currently there. In 2014, we are looking at launching our 3G services, of course, targeting the high-value subscribers. As you can imagine, a market leader with 53% market share enjoys the majority of the high-value customers. Of course, needless to say that the rollout of the 3G by nature will offload a lot of the traffic pain that we have on 2G on a network that hasn't been updated or no capacity added to it since April 2010. Now with 3G equipment in place, the 3G network, once we launch, which will happen within the first half of 2014, will offload a lot of the pain we have, especially in center downtowns, in busy commercial areas, once 3G is launched. Now, performance of Jay-Z, as you can see, very resilient, very strong performance, top line growth, despite all the problems we're facing, very strong EBITDA margins, high 50s. I think that's the highest amongst the group here. And also very strong cash flow. Of course, for obvious reasons, we could not spend capex, but even if that was a normally run operation with importing of capex, it would have been a very strong cash generation. Currently, we're standing at above 55% EBITDA minus capex over revenue in Algeria. Now moving to the next market, I'm talking here about Pakistan. Again, a very large population, a very good example of what Asia and Africa is about. Very large population, almost 200 million inhabitants. Very low penetration, only 53% penetration, and a market-leading position. A very young population, 34% of the population in Pakistan is below 15 years. Those youngsters are coming out, finishing their schools, finishing their universities, getting jobs, getting telecommunication needs. And we will be there for them. So a huge opportunity lying ahead in Pakistan as well. On the regulatory front, PTA chairman was PTA's Pakistan Telecommunication Authority. A chairman has been appointed after the position was vacant for almost 6 months. As soon as the PTA chairman assumed office, the file of 3G started to roll out very fast in Pakistan. The government is talking about having an auction as soon as February. We believe if it is slipping, it would slip maybe for 1 or 2 months maximum, but we do not believe that April would end without an auction on 3G in Pakistan. Again, a huge opportunity. Combining all what I said, so a leading position, a very young population, but also if you add to that the lack of infrastructure in Pakistan, so the fixed line is almost non-existent. The story of internet in our countries will be purely on mobile, and we're enjoying the leading position in this. Over the last year in Pakistan, we've managed also to regain our market leadership on data share of data traffic and data revenues. So I think we're very well positioned to enter into the 3G phase there. Again, government there is working on stability. There was a new government put in place in May that is trying to go on with the economic reforms, stabilize the country. And as part of their effort, actually, we see less forced shutdowns. You know, in 2013, especially the first half, I would say, of 2013 and the last half of 2012, we used to be asked by the security entities and authorities in Pakistan many times to shut down the network for security reasons. That was, I would say, frequently happening. Much less so in the second half of 2013 since this government has assumed office. So that's a very good also good thing for the business. So in 2014, in Pakistan, we will also focus on the launch of 3G, as this is a new opportunity and a huge opportunity for us there. And of course, we will retain our leadership in mobile data that we only acquired, by the way, with efforts done in 2011 and 12. So we became the market leader in data only in 2013. And we're looking forward also to capture the mobile financial services opportunity. The infrastructure, the platform, and the point of sale rollout has been done in 2012 and 13, but mostly in 2013. I think we're advancing in 2014, very well positioned to grab our fair share of the mobile financial services growing market in Pakistan. Performance again, organic growth quite strong on the top line. EBITDA performance, low 40s or mid 40s, and the cash flow generation of around 26%. So EBITDA minus capex over revenue of 26%. Of course, the modernization program has been a hero actually in 2013. It's something we announced in November 2012. We have done a mega RFQ, invited all major suppliers in the world, and got actually very good prices for rolling out a swap or a modernization of the network. That is going very strongly in 2013. I would say we're almost there. We'll finish it all by H1 2014. So of course this has started to increase a little bit the capex in 2013, and that's why you see a slight drop into the cash margins. Next is Bangladesh, and again, not a coincidence. I think this is very, very kind of aligned with what I described as the portfolio we have in Asia and Africa. A big population, 164 million. And that's what the government of Bangladesh says they can count. They can say this can be plus 20 million or less 20 million, because there are kind of open borders with India. The penetration rate is still at 68%. Yeah, it sounds funny, but it's true. This is what the government actually says there. And we're enjoying a strong number 2 position there. Elections there have just been held. So again, same phenomenon. Political stability is coming there. So we talk about Algeria, the elections are in April. Pakistan, elections took place and new government in May. And here in Bangladesh, 5th of Jan, there were the elections, and the Awami League, which was the governing entity in Bangladesh for the last 5 years, have won again and assumed power in the country. So for another term of 5 years. 33% of the population, again, is below 15 years old. Almost non-existent fixed line infrastructure. So again, the broadband or the internet access story in Bangladesh, just like Algeria and Pakistan, is going to be purely a mobile story. On the regulatory side, here, once somebody would have told me 2 years ago, we were knowing that we're coming to 3G licensing on all our major markets, but if somebody would have said Bangladesh would be the first, I would have been surprised. But in fact, the Bangladeshi regulator has put their act together and moved the file, awarded the licenses, and actually we launched 3G services in Bangladesh in October 2013 with very strong early signs after this launch. As part of the discussions we had with the government discussing the industry benefits and the industry issues in advance of the 3G awarding of the license, the SIM tax was part of the discussions we had with them. You know, the SIM tax was a very famous issue in Bangladesh, where the government imposes tax not on the operator, actually on the end user, but the operator ends up subsidizing it. It used to be in 800 takas, which is like $12, and that was brought down to 600 in 2011, and then brought down again to 300 in second quarter of 2013. In 2014, we'll capitalize on our strong introduction of 3G launch. Actually, we had, I think, the best launch of 3G in the country. We're looking at improving our revenue share, and we're looking at network sharing. Actually, Bangladesh team has managed in 2013 to have 41% of their total sites on air shared, which is a very good, I think, percentage. In numbers, of course, some of you might remember there were regulations set by the regulator for voice over IP suspected lines that had its pressure on the top line, as you can see in the last 12 months of revenues. However, strong management control over OPEX and initiatives to optimize our OPEX spending led to what you can see, very kind of stable, in fact, increasing margins on EBITDA. So despite the big drop on the top line, the operation has shown it is really having all what it takes to be a cost leader. On cash flow as well, this has had reflections on the cash flow, so strong cash flow generation. Our EBITDA minus capex over revenue last 12 months was 21.7%, which makes it very, very strong. Okay, a refreshment of what we discussed last year about our value agenda that we all keep at the center of our attention, and we consistently try to deliver on. So it's about customer excellence, operational excellence, profitable growth, and capital efficiency. I guess you all learned it by heart by now. So let's see what did we promise and what did we do in 2013. On the customer excellence front and on creating the superior customer experience more precisely, we have created customer experience functions in all our operations. So now we have customer experience officers reporting directly to the CEO just to focus on this initiative and give it the needed attention and push from the CEOs. Top-down net promoter score is in place in all our 3 countries, and it's becoming part of the KPIs. In 2014, it will become part of the KPIs set to all the management teams and even the below layers in the organization. It's becoming more customer-centric, putting the customer at the heart of everything we do, actually. In Bangladesh, we increased our below the line, and I have to say that also happened in Pakistan. That in itself also have metrics across the group that sets competition amongst the different countries. And on that, actually, I have to say, in Pakistan and Bangladesh, we might be running anywhere between 70 to 100 promotions a month. From 70 to 100 promotions a month. All micro-segmented, so we don't do much of a blanket approach. Now, what's the benefit of that? First of all, the blanket approach gives you some cannibalization effect. You don't have that when you do BTL targeted kind of promotions. Your competition doesn't really know what you're doing because they are bombarded with 100 different promotions. They can't even collect or understand what you're doing because you have a different offer to every micro-segment. And last but not least, it costs you 0 advertising. You just send SMSs to them. But that behind what I describe as a simple and in the simple and easy way I'm describing it is a lot of systems and a lot of training and a lot of analytics that takes place to know what should be sent to who and actually follow up on that to see what kind of uptake is there and what kind of impact that promotion do. And then it's a smart learning cycle for us. So this is actually being developed big time in both Pakistan and Bangladesh. On the optimizing the distribution, actually we launched in Bangladesh, for example, integrated channel campaigns with ARPU linked actually kind of incentives. In Pakistan, we increased the number of contracted retailers to exceed 50,000 now. In Algeria, because of some restrictions we had from the government in the terms of what commissions can we structure for the channel, we used incentive including special numbers. Special numbers is like the golden numbers, the nice looking numbers which are very popular in Algeria. So that used to be the incentive we give to the channel for any initiative we want to do. Still on the customer excellence, developing superior pricing capabilities. We have done concluded an intelligent network swap with new pricing features in Bangladesh. A similar exercise was done in Pakistan the year earlier. So we have basically a good infrastructure from a platform standpoint to develop whatever pricing mechanism we want to do. And in general, we started to lay the ground to go for bundles, in pushing for bundles in our countries because of the commitment it gives. That's a very important part of our cornerstone of our plan in tariffing in 2014. Of course, as you can imagine, in Pakistan, there is a devaluation of the rupee. So we are leading the pack in a way in terms of increasing the effective price per minute, doing that smartly, of course. And we're seeing actually that the market is following Mobilink in that context. So I think that's also part of the achievements we've done in 2013. Now, moving to profitable growth and winning in mobile data. Again, in Algeria, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, the 3 markets, our mobile data revenue showed high double-digit growth rates. If you keep into mind as well that the mobile data revenue was seeing triple data revenue growth in the year before in some of our markets, it tells you how much momentum is there. And we are all talking about this before 3G wave is coming. Again, I'd like to emphasize how big is the data opportunity we have ahead of us in our markets. In Algeria, in 2013, our data subscribers showed triple-digit growth. So again, before 3G is even launched. In Bangladesh, as much as we did in Pakistan and other markets, and with the help of the global partnership program and initiatives that were done at the group level, Facebook Zero and Wikipedia Zero and other partnerships were launched in our different markets. typically giving us an exclusivity at the beginning, but then followed up by others. So again, winning in mobile data, just a recap. Bangladesh launched 3G. Pakistan auction is in a 1 to 2 months from now. And Algeria license has been granted, and we are launching within first half of the year. It's not coordinated, by the way, it's just happening like that. Profitable growth again on growing beyond the core. A huge mobile financial services opportunity we believe lies ahead, especially in Pakistan and Bangladesh. We have not, in my opinion, realized yet our fair share of the mobile financial services in Pakistan because we came later in the game. However, we have laid down what I would think is a stronger infrastructure for mobile financial services than most players, and we're ready to take it forward in 2014. On operational excellence, again, driving cost efficiency in Bangladesh, as I said earlier, 41% site sharing took place. It's less than that in Pakistan. We're very happy with this percentage, and we're looking actually forward to repeat the same percentage. That's the target set. Now we are setting targets on site sharing for our CTOs in different countries, because this is part of our drive for being more cost efficient. In Pakistan, for example, very strong cost efficiency program put in place that led that the advertising and the marketing expense decreased to 2.5% of revenue instead of 3% in previous years. Despite that, in this year, we have launched a brand, a full rebranding and a brand uplift in Mobilink. In terms of capital efficiency, of course, network modernization is the buzzword. So we have plans for Algeria once the 2G ban is lifted. Of course, currently we are only rolling a 3G network, all co-located on our 2G network. But also we have plans for renovating and renewing and modernizing our network once the ban is lifted. In Bangladesh also, a mega RFQ was conducted, and we started the implementation of a network modernization. Pakistan, actually, the full throttle is on Pakistan in terms of the modernization. And as I said, we will finish that by the end of the first half of 2014. To mention, the network swap is coming in very handy. The early signs of the outcome of this is very useful. We're seeing sites that are using 23% less in fuel. We're seeing reach that is 9% more than what used to be to see indoor coverage, which has its impact on ARPU in areas where we cover. We're seeing even sites being eliminated. So when we did the network modernization program, we with the vendors started to design again that network and looked at, do I really need that site in light of the fact that the new configuration of sites looks like this? And eventually it helped us get rid of some sites. So one thing is to say, I'm going to reduce the cost of a certain site or the running cost. And another thing is to say, I can eliminate the whole site altogether. So I think we're coming to to be very efficient on our network expenditure across our markets. Algeria is the next step. So what in 2014 are we going to focus on? Again, it's the same value agenda, constantly delivering on it. So on developing the superior pricing capabilities, we want, as I said earlier, to push for more bundles. 2014, from a tariffing standpoint in our countries, is going to be one of the cornerstones of the strategy, of course, is bundles. Of course, if you look at the fact that you have 60% average penetration, that calls for you to have simpler tariffs than bundles. Bundles is not exactly the land grabber in markets that have still low penetration like this. But still, we are sitting on 90 million subscribers in these three countries. There is a lot of upselling that could be done to those to ensure we have the commitment of the existing base while we are acquiring more. So, and targeting, of course, the high value and reduced segment. They are very young countries, as I said earlier. So this is pricing capabilities, and the offering will go specifically to the high value and to the youth segments within 2014. And of course, leveraging on the intelligent network features that we have managed to swap in both Pakistan and Bangladesh in the last 2 years, and hopefully soon in Algeria when we can. Also, dynamic sort of tariffing will take place in 2014 to even enhance further the utilization of the network in areas where utilization might be low. On the customer experience side, this is taking a lot of attention of our top management. As I said, we have customer experience management manager and actually an officer level reporting directly to the CEO. They have started to build their teams within 2013. Their metrics and KPIs started to be put in place. So a lot of work is being done on building our customer experience sort of initiative. Of course, implementing digital media, there is a competition between actually our operations in terms of digital media and how many subscribers or followers do you have on Twitter or on Facebook and so on. In Pakistan, for example, we have quarter of the total population, around quarter of the total population of Facebook in Pakistan as followers on our MobiLink account. It gives you a very nice way to interact with your customers, announce your offers, get in touch with them. It's a very effective and cheap, I would say, also way to reach your customers. And of course, continuing on analytical efforts, especially on BTL, enhancing even further our BTL capabilities. Still on customer excellence and talking about distribution network. Now, the next subscriber we're getting in Bangladesh or in Pakistan or even in Algeria is not going to be the same customer we acquired 5 years there. So we have to expand further and in a more innovative way our distribution channel to reach the further corners of these countries. The Pakistan 53% penetration rate is very low, but again, to reach the next subscriber is not where we have been fishing for the last 5 years. So we're developing different approaches on our distribution networks across our operations, preparing us for the next wave of acquisition and servicing the existing subscribers. So two things. We are expanding where we are not, and we are enhancing by training the knowledge and the abilities of the existing distribution channel to be able to sell, to help us in our endeavor that is coming, selling value-added services and selling data. 2014 focus again on the profitable growth, winning mobile data. At the cost of being repetitive, again, we are living the 3G experience in full within Asia and Africa. So we launched in Bangladesh. We're going for an auction on a couple of months in Pakistan, and we have received our license in Algeria, and we're launching before the end of the first half. So growing beyond the core, as I said, a huge opportunity lies ahead on mobile financial services, especially in Pakistan and in Bangladesh. And I think we have laid down, in Pakistan specifically, a lot of work has been done in 2013 to lay down the infrastructure needed for us to drive the next wave of mobile financial services increase in this interesting market. On the operational excellence front, so we want to drive operational excellence specifically by increasing outsourcing efficiency. That goes for the technical suppliers mainly, and the technical warehouse optimization. On capital efficiency, again, we started something and we're consistently delivering on it, which is the network modernization / network swap programs we started in 2012. Very strongly delivering on them and seeing already the good results coming out. We are almost 75% done in Pakistan, I would say. In Bangladesh, we're starting in the second half of 2013. Algeria will follow once we have the 2G ban lifted. But of course, increasing the network sharing as well is a main cornerstone of what we ask our actually top management to deliver in the different countries. So the 41% that we reached in Bangladesh is a benchmark we would like to actually have other operators deliver on. So in conclusion, the story of Asia and Africa business unit, it's big markets, big populations, young population, no infrastructure. We have a leading position in markets where data opportunity is coming our way. So we're very well positioned to capture that opportunity. But on top of that, we have also very good sort of cash generation from these operations. So, if you combine that, of course, with the network modernization programs we're having, which will make us even more efficient. So the hard part is behind us. We have even more efficiency within our networks in the years to come. Putting all those together gives you, I think, what I would call a recipe for investing in the future, investing in Asia and Africa.